Listen to this story. The story of Jeffrey Epstein isn't just a scandal. It's like a high-stakes thriller movie that never ends. You have heard about the vault opening on January 30, right? 3.5 million pages of secrets just dumped online. But what's happening right now is even crazier. The Department of Justice is in a full-blown panic because they messed up the detection and leaked private information of the victims. They are clawing back the files, literally hitting the delete button as fast as they can. But you know the internet. Once it's out, it's out. We are talking about a live political bomb. World leaders are losing their careers and the Clintons are being called to testify in Congress. But before we look at who is going down next, we have to ask the real question. Who was this man who built such a massive shadow empire in the first place? The mastermind. Think about it. How does a guy with no college degree go from being a regular maths teacher to owning a private island and a Boeing 727 jet? Epstein was a total genius at networking. He started at Dalton School in New York, teaching the kids of billionaires. He didn't just teach them calculus, he impressed their fathers. One of those dads was the CEO of Bearstem, who gave him his first shot at Wall Street. But Epstein wasn't just a finance guy, he was a collector of people. He realized the ultra rich don't just want more money, they want access, status, and more importantly, insurance. This is where the things become even darker. He bought mansions in New York, Florida, and 72 acres private island, Little St. James. To the world, it was a paradise of the elect, but inside, it was a blackmail factory. The 2026, this year, files finally confirmed that everyone suspected. What everyone suspected? Sorry. In 2026, files finally confirmed that what everyone suspected. Epstein's mansion weren't just luxury homes, they were high tech blackmail factories. The documents suggest he had the places rigged with hidden cameras everywhere. We are talking inside the light fixtures, behind picture frames, and even in the smoke detectors. He reportedly filmed everything. Why? Because when you have a president, a prince, or a billionaire caught on a tape in your house, they aren't just your friend anymore. They are in your pocket forever. It was his insurance policy to make sure he remained untouchable, no matter what crimes he committed. And then there is the island, Little St. James. This is where the story gets really chilling. Imagine being lured to a beautiful tropical paradise only to realize the moment you step off the plane that you are trapped. The 2026 files describe the island as a dead zone. Why? Because there was no walking away, no calling a cab, and no help for miles. The only way in or out was by Epstein's private helicopter or by his phone. He owned the security, he owned the transport, and he owned the silence. This total isolation is how he ran this trafficking ring for years without the world ever finding out. It was the perfect cage, hidden in plain sight in the middle of the ocean. But we should ask one question. Why involve Trump? You will see Trump's name everywhere because in the 90s, they were neighbors and buddies. Trump once called him a terrific guy. But in 2004, they had a massive falling out, allegedly over a real estate deal or because Epstein harassed someone at Mar-a-Lago. Now in 2026, Trump is the president overseeing this release and the drama is at an all-time high, guys, all-time high. His critics says he is hiding files, while his fans says he is the one finally exposing the truth. Now we have a doubt who is doing what. It's okay. Now deal with Jeffrey Epstein now. Now we have a doubt what happened to Jeffrey Epstein, where he was, what happened to him. Come on. We have a very sad news here. Jeffrey Epstein died in a jail cell in 2019 under very suspicious circumstances. Imagine there were so many gods around there, but all gods fell asleep. Cameras broke exactly when he was about to talk. This makes the scene even more suspicious, right? But we can't do anything. He already died. But in 2026, those files prove that even a dead man's secret can still set the world on fire. This is exactly where the story goes from a scandal to a full blown international manhunt. If you thought that January 13th dump was the end, you are wrong. It was just a fuse, guys. Just every, just yesterday, I think, yeah, February 3rd, the first massive head roll, which is Peter Mandelson, one of the most powerful politicians in the UK. They used to call him the Prince of Darkness because he was a master of political secret. But on February 3rd, the darkness finally swallowed him. When the 2026, the file were opened, investigation didn't just find dinner invites. They found a betrayal. So sad, right? He was betrayed. Emails from the heart of the UK government showed Mandelson was leaking highly sensitive markets shaking, highly sensitive data, which actually shaking the markets, guys. Market shaking secrets about which is about 2008 financial crisis, which is sold directly to Epstein. We are talking about a 20 billion asset sale and a 500 billion bailout. While the world was struggling, Epstein was getting inside information. But what the PM Keir Starmer did, you will be surprised. Keir Starmer didn't wait. He fired Mandelson, handed the dossier to the police. Now the Mandelson has officially resigned from the House of Lords. He went from being the king of the London to a man facing a politi- potential life sentence for misconduct in public office. But do you think that is only one person behind this all? It's no. There are so many of them out there. Not only Mandelson, there are so many of them. As the clawback continued and the director of justice scrambled to fix their mistakes, other names started popping up like a game of whack-a-mole. Here comes the another hero. That is our Musk. Elon Musk is currently in a massive fight on X, trying to explain our emails from 2012 where he asked about wild parties on the island. He says he never went, but the digital trail is making people wonder what else is in the missing 2.5 million pages. Now the next hero, that is Prince Andrew. Now just Andrew Mountbatten Windsor is featured in hundreds of new photos. His brother King Charles has already stripped him of everything, but these new files have turned him into a total ghost in the UK. Now, here comes the truth. On February 4th, 2026, the Department of Justice officially declared that the 3.5 million pages they release of the final documents. They have closed the book. They say they have met their legal duty and there is nothing more to see. But for the victims and the public, this end feels like a cover up. The Department of Justice admitted there are 6 million pages in total. But they are keeping the other 2.5 million locked in a vault for national security. The story of Jeffrey Epstein doesn't end with a court case or a final prison sentence for the big show. It ends with a divided world. On one side, you have the government saying the case is closed. On the other side, you have millions of people who now know exactly how the world is run by a shadow network of blackmail, secret islands, and market sensitive emails. But after hearing this all, you should have one simple question, which is if Epstein was so powerful, how did he ever get caught? This is such a brilliant and such a brave woman did this one, guys. We should appreciate those men. Come on, let me tell you that story. Who bring this thief to the world? Let me tell you. It wasn't the FBI or the big government agencies who started this. In fact, they ignored the victims for years. The truth only came out because of a few incredible brave women and the one stubborn reporter. That stubborn guys, I really hands off that reporter. Now let's start with the first one. First, there was a woman named Maria Farmer back in, I think, 1996, yeah, 1996, which is 30 years ago. She actually called the FBI to report Epstein. You know what they did? They hung up on her. They literally told her they weren't interested. Then there was another lady named Virginia Gifford, who was just a teenager working at Mar-a-Lago. When she was lured into Epstein's world, she refused to be quiet filing lawsuit after lawsuit, even when the most powerful lawyers in the world tried to crush her. But the real game changer, that was a journalist. The journalist named Julie K. Brown from the Miami Herald was a brave woman who bring all this thing out. In 2017, when everyone had forgotten about Epstein, she started digging. She tracked down more than 80 victims, sat in their living rooms, and listened to their stories. Her reporting was so powerful that it forced the government to reopen the case in 2019. She is the one who exposed the sweetheart deal that let Epstein walk free for the first time. If those women hadn't spoken up and if Julia hadn't written those stories, we wouldn't be sitting here in 2026 talking about 3.5 million pages. They are the ones who actually picked the lock on that vault. Jeffrey Epstein may be dead and his file might be partially locked away. But the 2026 release proved one thing, guys. The elite aren't untouchables. They are just lucky that government hit the delete button before we saw the rest. So the vault is closed. Or is it? Hmm, I think in 2 weeks the Clintons sit for their deposition. The Manderson trial is just beginning here. The end of the file is just the beginning of the fall. Make sure you are subscribed because the real chaos is only getting started now. Bye bye, guys.